Everything has worked incredibly well with Terry. It's been, I think there's always challenges when you're investing in real estate, whether you're buying or selling, but he was always that calm hand on the rudder and saw every transaction through, and they've all worked out really well and been profitable for us. Those have also gone very well. We've participated in 2 exchanges where you're selling something, but then you have a very limited time frame to find something else and close escrow. So it's stressful. We're concerned, are we going to find a buyer? And then we find something that we want to be the buyer for. We got to make sure that the sale closes. But still at the price you want. Obviously, you could drop your price dramatically and find a lot of buyers. But again, Terry's able to be that steady hand on the rudder and keep the transaction going smoothly, and helped us find the right sort of buyers who were people who were going to close, who we would know would really buy our building, and we're financially equipped to do that and ready and the right people. And then to see the transaction through the myriad of details that they all have. And he's always done it. Both times he's done a great job for us. I think he's been more than fair. Like I said, there are usually some challenges or some questioning moments, and he always went above and beyond whatever he had to do to make that transaction go through. And it was something that we're trusting him with our life savings, but we always would, because he's done such a good job, and all of his advice has always been spot on. Things would go the way he said they were going to go. It's an amazing talent that he has to be able to do that, and he's been extremely accurate with us as to finding those right people, finding the right properties, and then doing whatever he could do to make sure the transaction worked. So yeah, he does whatever he can to make it happen.
Actually, we did better than we expected. In terms of the price, we got a good price for the apartment building. And part of the reason of that is he did a very good job of reviewing the building before we went in, working with our property manager and recommending what to fix, where to spend some money, where not to, right? And making sure that once it hit the market, it presented itself as favourable, in a very favourable manner, and that's what we did. You know, some of the costs were a little bit. I wasn't sure whether it made sense or not, but I trusted Terry and I did it, and there's no question that it made the difference. It really did make the difference. So once it hit the market, we got offers, and we got a great offer from one person and another sort of soft offer. So there was a bit of competition. So that happened to work out well, and you know, the way it all played out was through Terry's guidance. And once again, of course, Terry took care of all that. You know, he was our broker, and you know, there were little things, like I said, working with our property manager, and he met with our property manager a number of times, you know, and then he'd discuss with my property manager and come back to me, say what he thought. And so I guess a lot of the things in the selling process were, he took that on himself rather than myself, which was fine. But at the top of my head, I can't think of anything that was that sort of could be improved in terms of the selling process.
Yeah, I think Terry always had his paperwork together, and he had staff that helped him to work efficiently. I don't think there was ever an issue with that. But realize, as a company, the only way we made money is to buy and manage it for a profit, position the property for sale, and then to sell it right and at the right time. And so Terry understands that process, and so he works efficiently at it. And as a team, you kind of start working together as a team, getting things ready and getting a package together, and he would help get that package together. Well, I think the biggest issue is that if you're talking to a person who's buying or selling, then it depends on what broker you're using. If Terry's helping you buy a property, then he's helping to get some of that information. You want real numbers, and the pitfall of this is not getting real numbers. So you want to validate their true gas and electric bills. You want to validate their true water bills. You want to validate the big numbers, their operational expense per unit, and what their real income is. And so you go through that process, and Terry would help you get some of that information. Without that information, you really can't do an analysis of the property.
Yes, even before we went to market, he brought me comps, what was going on, And comps typically are looking backwards. Terry also looks forward. He's saying, okay, which way is the market going? Is it going up? Are the potential buyers the type of buyers that are going to need a loan, or are they all cash, or are they coming out of an exchange into the new property? Are they trading up? And he understands that part of the business, so that he can kind of focus his sales to particular types of buyers. So if you're somebody coming out of a 1031 exchange and you've got time constraints, he understands that, and he'll put the deal together such that the time constraints can be made. If you're someone who's got to wait for forming a group to buy the property and then get a loan, that's going to take longer, and he understands that. So going right in, he's very clear on, for myself as a seller and for the buyer, what the time situation is. So that it makes sense. Again, I like the idea that there are very few surprises in dealing with him. Absolutely, he's very fair. Again, particularly when you have a situation where you have the buyer and seller, and he's kind of working both sides, which is important as a broker. And so he is fair. And a large part of it is about the ability to communicate and kind of look forward to what could be done. And I've had that same reaction, by the way, from other attorneys. I have another, in fact, he's an attorney that represents another client of mine, tax attorney primarily, and Terry recently completed, I think it was 8 sales, all for one trust, and he did a great job. Now, it was a little more complicated than the 2 that I'm involved with right now, but that attorney speaks highly of Terry also. So as an attorney and as a trustee, I have a fiduciary duty, which is even higher than my personal duty. What that means is I could go to the casino and leave money there that's my money, but I shouldn't even be in the casino with the trust money. So it's very important that I'm careful and deal with the top people, and Terry's a top person.
He's always trying to make sure that he's got all of his bases covered so that we can act and react as appropriately as we need to make sure that he has what he needs to get to his clients whenever he's selling a property and or buying a property. So it's easier for us when we have somebody that is on top of their game, making sure that they are detail oriented and they know specifically what they need. Some brokers we have that are more challenging is the ones that will give you this request here, and then 20 minutes later, oh, but I also need this one. Then 20 minutes later, I forgot that I need this too. The Terrys of the world, the good brokers, are the ones that compile that information. They actually know their job. They make sure that they have each of those things outlined in an email. It's concise, it's clear, so we can quickly turn and burn and get that information to him as quickly as possible. You know, you have to be really organized in this business. You have to make sure that you know each step of the transaction. And Terry knows each step of the transaction, and he's generally being proactive, making sure that he's getting those emails to us literally either the day before, just a step ahead enough so that when that request comes in, he's already basically there and has the information that he needs so that he's on top of his game. So basically what we do when we're helping Terry and helping one of his clients is we come in, again, at the same front-end process. We try and walk the property, meet with those clients before they get too far into the transaction. If they're trying to locate a specific property, we'll maybe go out to several of them to try and give them our opinion as to which one's the most saleable moving forward. And we put some numbers together, and through that process work really closely with Terry as he's working on the due diligence. We're coming in with our due diligence, making sure that we're getting the numbers that they need in order to make sure that the property is going to operate effectively in the future. So once they decide on that property, then we get the management of it. Then we'll come in and really assist Terry with his due diligence. Again, he's making sure that he's sort of one jump ahead of everybody, which is what makes our job easier. What ends up happening is, he's on top of it, we're on top of it. We're both trying to turn and burn as quickly as possible, making sure that we're paying attention to the client. But because he knows the transaction process so well, he's able to basically predict what's going to be needed. So he's asking for that just enough ahead of what the other brokers needing, or what the loan officer's needing, so that he's already prepared and ready to go before that information is asked for. And it just makes the transaction go so much more smoothly. It makes the process so much easier for both the client, the other broker. It makes things much smoother for them, and then also makes the process much smoother for the loan officers or anybody else that's involved in the periphery of that process. So we put that whole package together, and again, we come through, do the same thing like we did for Terry, and once that property is closed escrow, Terry's got his information and his documents. We basically take all that from him and run with it, get everything transitioned over, talk with the tenants, make sure that notices are served, everything's changed over as quickly and efficiently as possible. And again, part of that is him making sure that he's requested those documents enough in advance so that there's any straggling pieces that he needs, he's got everything together before the close of escrow. So again, we can take it and just run with it.